Welcome to the Pure Energy Healing Academy. It's a beautiful morning, it's Saturday, and I'm ready to give a little bit of a talk on pure energy healing crystals and how it began. You may be interested, you may not, but if you are interested, it might help you along your journey to create your own pure energy healing crystals. So at 38 years old, I started a healing path, and what that meant was I'd be sat with clients or stood up on my clients, around them, and giving a kind of healing, spiritual healing, call it whatever you want. Basically, it was an exchange of energy. So the stronger I was, the more I realized I was giving this good energy. It didn't take long till I realized it wasn't my energy, it was something that was passing through me and going into my client. And this energy was healing the clients. So they would get up and their headache for 2 years or 3 years was gone. And for me, it was phenomenal. And then they'd say to me a week later, Mark, after the healing session, I haven't had a night terror. After the healing session, my irritable bowel syndrome has just drastically reduced, and so on. So I was like, okay, there's something definitely in this. So I'm getting somewhere. So as that was happening, at the same time, organically, crystals were entering into my life. And I would simply place a crystal in the hand of a client and as a gift, not knowing why, but just gift them, because I ended up getting loads of crystals from clients that I wouldn't charge. So they here, take these crystals. So it was kind of like working hand in hand. I was like, okay, thanks. And I didn't really know what to do with them, but I was giving them away because it didn't really mean anything to me, because I wasn't really into crystals. What I realized after a healing session, the client would leave and say to me, you know, I've had this crystal for 2 or 3 weeks and I've never taken it out of my hand. It's always in my pocket, it's with me and it's helping. And many little things like that happen, synchronicities where, you know, a child would take a crystal from me after I'd finished working with that crystal on a client, and they would benefit from it. And I've got some amazing stories that one day I will share in a healing book. But let's just say for now that everything that was happening was absolutely 100% organic. It was entering into my life like, I don't know, the sea flowing straight to me. It was like, it was all coming my way, and it was like, this is really interesting. And for the first time, I was aware of what I was doing, and I was putting a lot of focus, a lot of attention in every single action and reaction that was happening in a healing session. So what I found, like I said, it was so organic that clients would come to me and say, is there any chance that you could work on this crystal and put energy into it? And I'd say, no, not really, because at the beginning I had no idea what you mean. I knew there was something in the fact that the energy was inside that crystal after my client had a healing session. I knew, I had a feeling, because it was like, why tell me about a crystal? Why mention the crystal all the time? And why say that after 2 or 3 or 4 weeks that I never let this crystal go, and it always makes me feel better and I feel health? And it's like, okay, there's something within the crystal. So then, like I said, people were coming to me saying, would you mind doing some work on this crystal? So I'm like, okay, well, what I'll do is when I'm doing a healing session, I'll put the crystal on my clients or underneath the bed. I had like a little shelf underneath the bed, and I'd put the crystals there and slide them in, so I knew that after a healing session, those crystals would get an hour healing or energy healing, or I hoped. And it seemed to get more and more people were saying to me and coming to me for me to work on their crystals. Now, at the beginning, I was doing it free because, of course, I was giving a healing session and getting paid. Back then, it was about 25 euros an hour. So, and then all the other healing sessions that I was doing free, which was probably about 80% free and 20% charging right at the beginning. So this was really interesting. And then one day I got this tree made out of metal, and it had one set of like hooks all the way around this tree in metal, so I could hang all my pendants on there. And then there was another level that I could hang, and then another level, and then the top level. So every time I worked on these crystals belonging to my clients, when I felt okay, that's enough on this level, I'd move them up to the next level till they got to the top. And then I'd make a phone call because we didn't have text messages back then, and I'd say, oh, your crystal's ready. And they'd come and they'd take it, and sometimes they'd give me another crystal as a gift, right? I never asked for it, and they were just so happy. And so as I got these crystal gifts, I started thinking, you know what, maybe it's time I start to buy some crystals of my own. So the first point of call was somebody in Malaga. He was a French guy, and he had these beautiful crystals in his store. He's no longer there. And we ended up talking and becoming friends. And I started to select certain crystals. Now, I couldn't afford a lot. I had a family to look after, so it was like I might be able to afford €100, which was a lot back then. So I'd get maybe 4, or there might have been 25 or 30, and sometimes I'd get one, which was like €200. It could have been a Moldavite back then. And I'd be really excited. I'd come back and I'd start work with it. So I'd start work with it thinking, well, I'll use it as a healer and a psychic to do my work and my meditation. And I'd work with it on the healing bed with the clients. I'd also bring it to my table where I'd do one-to-one spiritual readings and hold it at the same time. And when I'm doing my meditation, and when I'm doing my absent healing, and also when I'm doing one-to-ones on Skype. So I would take certain crystals and work with them for weeks and sometimes months. And then when I was ready, I thought, okay, this crystal is ready. It's got the energy that it feels perfect. It's got more than enough amazing energy, depending on what I would work on my clients or what I would be doing as that hour continued. So if I sat there after a healing session and that client had, let's say, a broken heart, I would sit here and send healing to certain clients with grief or issues or physical pain with the heart. And then I'd realize that this crystal is all about the heart. It heals the heart, it heals grief, it heals anything to do with a broken heart, pain with splitting up with a partner. So now I know that this crystal is all about the heart. So then I would write that down, and I'd say, this crystal has worked with me for maybe 30 hours, sometimes 50 hours, sometimes 150, 300 hours, depending on the circle. And when it got to the top, I'm thinking, how many hours have I worked? How long have I had it for? How many sessions? Yeah, so that was 10, that was 20, that was 30. But then sometimes I'd go back again and then start again. So it was like, I'd have to figure out how many hours. So I might say I've done 30 hours with this crystal, and this crystal helps with the energy of the heart. So, and then I'd put it onto Facebook, and back then I had a Facebook account that was massive. They took me off Facebook because I started speaking the truth. So I've now got another Facebook account with only 1,000 followers, but before it was 5,000 plus about 54,000 followers. So I had 5,000 friends and 54,000 followers. So they took that off me straight away because I was speaking truth. But what I used to do is I'd put it on, I'd take a photo of it and then put it on to Facebook, and it would sell within a minute. And there'd be about 50 people saying, I want it. So now I'm thinking, okay, so I sold it and then went back to the Frenchman, and then I started going to different places. And it started slowly building up that I'd work with maybe, 10 pieces. And that would be maybe a course of about 10 weeks, something like that. And then when I like, okay, this has had 5 hours, this has had 15 hours, this has had 30 hours. Some had 300 hours that I kept for ages and so on over the years. And eventually it was like, people were coming to me asking for crystals, and people were waiting on Facebook for my next crystal. And that came to a point where I thought it's time that I now have to have a website and start to have a shop. And that's how it began. So everything that I've done up to this moment, right now, at this moment in time, I've got a box of crystals over there, which are rings. I've got crystals over there, I've got crystals over there, I've got crystals over there. And yeah, I've got crystals everywhere. I'm working on, crystals all over, everywhere. So I work with them now on a way of meditation, absent healing, sending certain energy within to the crystal, which I pull through, exactly the same energy work that I did when I first started, when I was 38. So I'm now 55, 54, 55, and every day I come into work with this great feeling of excitement of what I'm going to put into those chrysophiles over there, which I have done and worked maybe 17 hours on them. I've got 1 more hour to put into them. And when I've put that same energy into them, I then put them on the website, and I have staff now who upload them on my website. And I've worked on so many crystals over so many years, and the crystals may sell 1 week, they might sell in a day, they might sell in 30 seconds, or they might stay there for years. So my website holds every single crystal that I've worked with my hands. Every one of them has been in my hands. And some of the pictures that some of the older ones that are still there, which are amazing, and we keep working on the energy of sound therapy down at the office, because they go to the office and we keep cleansing, and I keep bringing them out and working on them again and taking new photos. It's all beautiful how it all works. It's a fascinating energy, and nobody's allowed to be in that particular space unless they're happy and filled with love. So it's all so important that pure energy crystals are worked upon at the highest frequency and vibration, so they're ready for you. So now I have a website. I'm sat here and I like it kind of blows me away, because now I'm able to travel the world. Well, not so much now, of course, because of the restrictions, because of what we can't do if we haven't had something, which, you know, is all nonsense, of course. But I do end up getting very special crystals from around the world from people who cherry pick for me. So I have friends that I've worked with over 12 years now who get crystals for me because they know exactly what I want. So I'll send them a message and say, this week try and find these, which might be 30 crystals, different crystals, and then they might find one or none. So it's all about, you know, looking for the right ones, because sometimes that doesn't feel right to me. They feel right. So it's all about energy and feeling what feels right. So everything that I do with my crystals comes at a high frequency. Everybody who works alongside me, everybody who buys for me, it's all ethical. Everything, it isn't like buying in bulk. It isn't about China. It isn't about India. It's about individual crystals that I try and find from the right sources, and I work very hard on that integrity. So that's pure energy healing crystals. Today, I am proud to say that Bajerski.com, and a lot of people don't know this, that I probably top 100, if not top 10 crystal websites in the world, of the amount of people who come and love my crystals. And the returning clients are, right now is about 90%. It's normally about 83, but it's gone up. I don't know why, but there's more people buying and coming back than new clients. But I think that's because of YouTube. YouTube has censored most of my work. And the reason why is because I speak truth, and they're stopping truth everywhere they can. So they don't want anybody to heal. They don't want anybody to feel better. They don't want anybody to know anything about the word cure or health or well-being. You can't say healing anymore. You certainly can't say crystals, because all of this goes against this YouTube dystopian nightmare that we're living in. So now you're finding that everybody who's been a long-term subscriber, I've mentioned this many times, and I get messages daily wow, I've been taken off your Mark Bajerski YouTube. Yeah, this is deliberate. What they're trying to do is sabotage anybody who is speaking truth. So yeah, you might find yourself that you might look and say, hey, I'm not even subscribed. I was subscribed 2 years ago, 4 years ago, and now I'm not subscribed. And yes, that's very normal. That's what they're doing. And so my followership used to go 1,000 a week. I'm lucky to get 10 now, and it goes down. So instead of having followers, they're knocking more and more people off. And this is all deliberate. Why? Because when you try and help people feel better, when you try and help people find a way to cure themselves, they no longer become a customer for those that are trying to create darkness, sickness, illness. So you can see how it works. We are living in times of darkness. And that's why I work every day on my crystals, because I know they make a difference in this world. I wear crystals all day long. I work with crystals all day long. They've done nothing but make me feel positive, healthy, happy. They've healed me in so many different ways. And the fact that all my customers are mainly returning customers, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, should tell you everything. Now, I'm always going to get people who say, oh, your crystals are a lot of money. Well, in comparison to another website, they may be, but I work with my crystals and I put a lot of time and effort into each crystal. I give free delivery. The packaging, the effort that all my staff do, the love and everything that we do, we try and make it the most pleasant experience for you. And when you get it, you're not only getting a crystal, you're getting energy. And when you feel that, and when you take your packet out and you look at your card and you read it and you feel it, you can't value that. There's no value to that. It's priceless. And when you have a crystal that's been worked on, not only with love, but with a beautiful energy that goes into that crystal as an added memory, it's priceless. So everything that I do and everything that I've done since 38 years old hasn't changed. Nothing's changed at all. The same process is exactly what happens then as it is now. I have not become a big corporation, which I'm not. I'm a singular person that works with every single... You can ask any of the staff at markbajerski.com. Everything has to go through me. I have to work on everything, okay? So it's all done with the highest of energy, and mainly in this room. So I've just finished now working on some Palo Santo sticks. I worked on them last night, through the night. So I put energy into them. I put energy into everything. So you've got to feel happy. You've got to feel strong. Right now, I feel great. I feel amazing. And I'm ready to look forward to a great day with my new beautiful top. Yes, it's all mushrooms these days. I don't know why, because I'm not into mushrooms at all. I actually work upon my own energy and try and find my nirvana, my high intuition, my connection to the spirit world through my natural work in the way of incense that I may burn in the room, oils that I rub on, but to digest something and get this quick fix spiritual takeaway is not good for me. I don't like that. It's not what I want in my life. I want to be natural. So everything that I work on is of high frequency and natural frequency. So yeah, there's no chaos in this room. And I think that when you work with things like mushrooms and ayahuasca, they can be chaos if you're not careful. It can be so chaotic in that moment that I don't need that energy in this room. The energy has to be at peace, tranquil, and then the good energy from the spirit world that works alongside me, which I don't normally talk about too much, but yes, they do. They work alongside me every day, and that's what I work with as well. So there's multiple energies of love and healing, and only of light. Only of light. If you've ever been to any of my rituals, it's a ritual. It's all of light. It's a blessing. It's a ceremony of light and love. That's it. And we clear the darkness and the trauma. And that's why I believe that each one of my crystals has the ability to help in certain ways. That's why when you go onto markbajerski.com and scroll down and see a crystal that you like, and then you read the description, it normally balances up and matches to exactly what you need. Why is that? Why doesn't it match up to the books that are all written about crystals? Because I have worked with that crystal in a specific way. And when I finish working it, I write it down on the description. This is what I worked on. This is the energy that I put into this crystal through the universe. Anybody can do this, but many people just don't have the time. Many people just don't have the time, and they say, please, Mark, will you work on this crystal? Or please, Mark, could you, next time you're out scouting for some beautiful crystals, could you get, K2, could you get this one and work on, yeah, sure, I write it down. I've got a little book here that I write it down in. I'll try and look for those crystals, and then I work with maybe 20 or 10 or 30, depending on how many I get, and if I like them or if I don't. If I like them and I love them, I'll have them all these days. Why? Because I can afford them now. So it's a privilege to be where I am, but it isn't for not working hard. I work hard every day. I get up every morning. I work all day, and then when you guys are asleep, I am awake working on crystals and putting energy into them. So when everybody's asleep, I'm awake doing most of my work. That is who I am, and that is what Mark Bajerski is, and that is what pure energy crystals are. They're not just a crystal, they're far more. But I also want to thank you all for the great question, and I hope that you can work on crystals yourself. Remember, don't ever work with crystals if you're not feeling well. Only if you're feeling 100% strong. If you've got any illness, any sickness, any feelings of pain or anything, don't work with your crystal. Let your crystal work for you. And that's when you take the crystal and let the crystal heal you. But when you're putting good energy into a crystal, if you're not feeling well, if you've had a fight with somebody, if somebody's upset you, don't go near crystals, okay? Because if you want to put good energy into them, you have to be the clear vessel to be able to do that. But maybe you can go to Mark Bajerski. In fact, it's a good idea, a better idea, is to take the crystal course on the Pure Energy Healing Academy, where myself and Leila Sati do courses. And you'll see how to work with crystals. It's all there. 4 days, solid, intensive, beautiful course where you become a pure energy crystal healer, certified with great energy. It's fabulous. It's just great. So yeah, anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for your kindness and your support. I often do these videos once every year or something like that, just to help people understand why my crystals are like they are. And when somebody gets really, really upset and they apologize, which happens quite often, what I do is I feel that and think, okay, to be able to say something that was nasty in a moment, that wasn't kind, and then to retract it and come back and say, I'm sorry, I said something, that means a lot to me, and it shows that you're growing. And when that happens, it's like I always try and go back to that person and say, well done you, and try and help them and give them something as a bonus, as a gift, just to say thank you, because so many of us get so upset and angry, and then we don't have the strength to go back and say, you know what, that was just silly. I shouldn't have done that. I was in a bad place. And I've done that. I always do that. I always say, oh shit, I can't believe I've just done that, or I said that. I am so sorry. That's a good thing. If you can apologize and forgive yourself and say sorry, and then you're growing all the time, because we knee-jerk and react all the time. It's part of life. It's part of living in this spacesuit. But if we have the power to say sorry and to say, you know what, I think I was a bit silly there, I made a mistake, and probably because I went through that, or I was feeling this, or I've got this issue and that issue, and life isn't so good, and I've not got much money, and I'm blaming you because your crystals are expensive. But then when you realize that was just me being silly, I really appreciate that. I do. I get it. It's like, oh, thanks. And it always makes me feel better that thanks not for me, thanks for you, because you're seeing and you're fixing, you're healing, you're breaking the mold, you're getting stronger. So that's great. I love that. Absolutely love that. And there was many a times that when I was working alongside people who had set up big events, and I was there and somebody was like being quite awful, and midway through a lot of the times, or they'd come up to me and say, would you like me to get rid of this person? And I'm saying, no, that person's probably the strongest person in here. What do you mean? Well, they're getting angry, they're getting this, they're getting that, because there's something in that. They're trying their best to try and fight. They're fighting against themselves, not me. They're fighting against what's being said in the room, and they're getting angry. They're trying to defend what they believed in the past. They're programming. Leave them alone, because in the end they're going to be amazing. And it's true to form. Many people that fought with me over the years ended up being amazing healers, or psychics, or beautiful friends and powerful people, because they had to break down the walls of the programming, and they became who they were. And that frustration, that need to fight me, I know isn't a need to fight me. It's a fighting with themselves. So, as you get older, you kind of understand things more, and you let things go more. And you understand it a lot more. And when people, and this is for you guys, if anybody attacks you, they're not attacking you, they're just attacking themselves. It's just sometimes you're an easy target and you're a nice punch bag. But when you just let it go, don't fight back, let it go, smile, and just think, okay, they're going through what they need to go through. And I think we're all radiators and drains throughout the week, month and year. So sometimes we all go through this knee jerk that we look back and think, oof, shouldn't have done that. But maybe we should say that. Maybe one day we can say it to somebody. I'm hoping one day somebody in my family would turn around to me and say, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. That was bang out of order. And when that happens, and if it does happen, I'll say absolutely. And you're my family, and that's it. But they have to break through from that pattern, not me. I don't go up to people and say you shouldn't do it. I wait for it to come, and when it does, my arms are open. So I think it's a good place to be. It's a very stable and grounded and balanced way to be. You don't have to be the punch bag all the time. You're not looking for please tell me I'm right. I'm not looking for any of that. I'm just, it's okay, you're going through whatever you're going through. I don't need to be in that energy. I don't want to be in that energy. But when you figured it out and you want to apologize, or you want to say, flicking I shouldn't have done that, or like, no problem. But I'm not going to wait for that. And I'm certainly not going to expect it and want you to do it for me to okay, like we're friends now. No, it's not about that childish energy. That's not what it's about. It's about when you've recognized what you've done, when you go back and you say, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that, and I'm sorry, no problem, I get it. Here, we're back to where we were again, friendship or family, whatever it is. But you see what I mean, right? So I find it easier that way, a lot easier. And when the time's right, and if you've got a child that's gone, and you've had a big fight, and you might think that they've said some awful things, and hopefully one day when they do come back, your arms are open, and that's it. I'm wishing you all a lovely day today. I've steered off a little bit from pure energy healing crystals, but I think I'll make a video now on rings. I don't know why. I've got the rings here, and I don't normally talk about rings. I used to wear 3 rings, actually. I wore 3 rings. Yeah. Lapis lazuli. I had a tiger's eye that was really beautiful, and a moonstone. I had all them 3 rings, and I worked with them. Maybe I'll show you how to work with rings. I don't even think I've ever done that yet. So maybe I'll show you how I used to work with rings, and it's great. So many healers, especially in Bali. I used to go to one beautiful healer who always had a beautiful ring. I can't remember what it was, and he used to work with his ring all the time. So I used to work with my rings in a certain way. So yeah, let's do that. Next video, all about rings. I hope you enjoy it. But once again, thank you for supporting Bajerski.com by trusting in my healing products, my oils, incense, teas, dream catchers, and all my crystals. Thank you so much over these years for trusting in me. I really mean that. And also a massive shout out to a beautiful soul called JCK. JCK mentioned the tarot course that she's on at the moment on her YouTube channel. What a beautiful soul. And I think we're going to get together and she's going to do an interview. We're going to have a chat together, so we'll put it out there soon. And then you can get to know somebody else who's lovely. And she's just doing the tarot course, and she's really enjoying it, she said. So it's nice to connect with somebody else that is on YouTube and has a YouTube channel. So yeah, JC, and then it's K, is KAY. So go over and say hello, and say, yeah, nice soul. Looking forward to sharing a chat with her soon, and we'll post that soon. So thanks for this half an hour. Love you all. Have a great day. And I think I'm gonna take this t-shirt off, put another one on, like I do, and do a video all about some rings that I bought and that I'm working on at the moment. Okay, bye.